Hey, man, do we have a jam-packed live stream for you guys on a Monday night talking about Nebraska and the transfer portal. I'm going to be going over an update with some certain prospects who look like they're committing soon, some guys coming on visits very soon, and so much more. Just chopping it up, talking transfer portal, talking recruiting. Offseason has finally gotten going, so we're just going to go over a lot of stuff tonight. But before we get into it, everybody let me know in the comment section below where you're tuning in from. I always like to see where everybody's tuning in around the country, even outside the country. So put that in the comment section. Also hit that like button on the stream as we're getting going here. Really helps me out. But without further ado, let's just start getting it going. Talking about some transfer portal things going on with the Huskers. Now, we got to talk about the thing that just dropped on my table just about a couple minutes ago here. Elijah Pritchett looks to be committing to Nebraska, I'd imagine tomorrow. Again, I reported this earlier on the channel about 30 minutes ago. All the crystal balls started rolling in from Pete Nakos of On3, from Steve Wiltfong of On3. And when the crystal balls start coming in, especially in the transfer portal process, pretty much a done deal. So he's visiting tomorrow. All signs point to him committing to Nebraska, signing the dotted line, signing the paperwork. And I know a lot of people are asking, and I get this comment a lot when it comes to Elijah Pritchett. Again, this is a five-star prospect. He started 12 of the 13 games this year for Alabama. People ask, will he start for Nebraska? Because he did struggle for Alabama. Let's be completely honest as we get this going. It was impressive that he started 12 of the 13 games, but he gave up 6 sacks on the year, 31 pressures. He wasn't great in pass pro. So people are asking, is Elijah Pritchett going to start for Nebraska when he does, in fact, sign with the Huskers? The answer to that question is absolutely yes, he's going to start for Nebraska. Okay, if you can start at Alabama, you can start at Nebraska, 100%. We do not have a great offensive line, and he'll be battling up against guys like Gunnar Gatula, Teddy Prohaska, Turner Corcoran. There is no doubt in my mind that Elijah Pritchett can't beat out Teddy Prohaska at that right tackle spot. So when we get this guy, I think it's going to be a big-time addition. He's a five-star player coming out of high school, 2 years of eligibility left, really good in the running game. People don't talk about that, but he graded out as a pretty good player in the run aspect. Pass pro got better as the season progressed. So I still think this is a really good player that Nebraska's about to land, but he's absolutely going to start at that right tackle spot for the Huskers next year when, in fact, we land him. There's also, I know somebody put in the chat just now, he did have a couple legal issues happen earlier this summer. It was nothing critical. It was misdemeanors and speeding offenses. So everybody on Georgia's roster dealt with that. Same with Alabama. So that's not really a bad deal at all. But wanted to mention that around Elijah Pritchett. Expect him to commit tomorrow. I have that ready to go. But he's all signs point from the coaching staff, from the people in that program. Just trust my word on this one. They expect him to commit to the Huskers. Of course, want to really quickly mention the Washington State offensive lineman ended up committing to Washington or to Wake Forest. The guy reported that on the channel. Had a little bit of an inside tip there from a coach who's now with Wake Forest. So it's unfortunate that Nebraska missed out on him, but it is what it is. We're moving on here and getting a guy like Elijah Pritchett. And it should be mentioned, Nebraska is being very aggressive here with their NIL. We weren't happy about missing out on the Washington State transfer. We weren't happy about missing out on Isaiah World. We're being aggressive here in NIL when it comes to Elijah Pritchett. That's pretty much why he wants to come here, along with a couple other reasons. We'll get into that when he, in fact, commits tomorrow. So, obviously, got to talk about this guy first because that's the big pressing guy who's probably about to commit very soon, visiting tomorrow. Also want to get to Emmanuel Pregnon. So, people are asking, who's the other offensive lineman we're going after? This is the other guy. As of right now, is the second-ranked interior lineman in the portal, top 10 transfer coming out from USC, graded out as the best player on USC's offense. Ever since he entered the transfer portal a couple days ago, Nebraska's been very involved here. You know, from the rumor mill, Nebraska is setting up a visit for next weekend, so watch out for that. It's not officially confirmed yet, but Nebraska's trying to get him on campus this weekend. Get really good in the pass pro, didn't really give up any sacks for USC, good in the running game, 1 year of eligibility left. He's going to go to the NFL, but Dylan Raiola has been very involved in this process here. That's what you should know. Dylan Raiola has been involved in the Elijah Pritchett process as well. But just expect Nebraska to land 2 or 3 offensive linemen. You know, again, they missed out on Isaiah World. They missed out on the Washington State transfer. They wanted those guys very badly. And I know there's some people who said, oh, Nebraska didn't want them. They absolutely did want them. Nebraska's been aggressive on the O-line. They just haven't got the guys they wanted. I think they have a really good shot to land both of these guys, and they might add one more. So a lot of people are also asking me, what's the outlook for Nebraska with the rest of this portal process? Because we're getting to the end of it, right? I mean, it's the 6th of January. It feels like we probably have 2 more weeks of true portal activities, and then everybody's going to be committed, and then we're going to get ready for the offseason. So what is Nebraska's game plan? Here's what I think that's going to do going forward. We're going to get 2 or 3 offensive linemen. Okay, we've just addressed that. 2 or 3 offensive linemen. Maybe, I think, 1 more defensive lineman / edge rusher. More likely an edge rusher, a true guy who can come off the edge, get to the quarterback. So 2 or 3 offensive linemen, 1 edge rusher, 1 more defensive back, either a corner or safety. We're going to get probably 1 more on top of that. And then what I believe is we're going to get 1 more running back, not now, but in the summer. I think right now the coaching staff is going to give Quentin Ives an opportunity. They're going to give Mekhi Nelson an opportunity. They're going to give Jamarian Parker an opportunity. They're going to realize pretty quickly in the spring that those guys just aren't adequate enough to be our running back 2, running back 3, and I think they're going to go try to get a running back this summer. So that's our game plan going forward in the transfer portal. Talking about some other guys who I want you guys to keep an eye on. Haven't reported this on the channel. Yeah, I wanted to save this for the live stream. Damon Wilson is somebody who entered the portal, I believe, yesterday, the day before that, coming in from Georgia. Would absolutely watch out for this name to be associated with the Huskers. Had 3 sacks this year for the Bulldogs, 2 forced fumbles. Was one of their better pass rushers on the roster. I believe, yeah, he has 2 years of eligibility left. Just overall, very talented guy coming out of Florida. Dylan Raiola, once again, involved in this process, trying to peer recruit him. Dylan Raiola knows a lot of the players with Georgia, so nobody's really reported this on Damon Wilson. He has a great last name, I'll tell you that. But Damon Wilson has some association with the Huskers. I'd imagine Nebraska's interested here, tries to get him a visit probably this weekend. This weekend will probably be the last big transfer portal weekend before everybody commits, and then we'll kind of be done for a little while. So watch out for Damon Wilson. One other guy that I'll talk about more in tomorrow's video, but more Westmoreland, coming in from UTEP. We played him there first game of the season. We know how talented he is. 8 sacks this year and last year. He's visiting tomorrow, so watch out for Mo Westmoreland. Minnesota is also in this process, a couple other players, so want to mention that around him. I'll talk about him more in tomorrow's video, but it was just announced that he will be visiting. Also, want to give you guys an update around Noah Thomas here really quick. Noah Thomas, Nebraska was expected to be interested in him, of course, 6'6" receiver, legacy coming out of the Huskers. Again, his dad played for Nebraska. His uncle was a legendary edge rusher, Broderick Thomas, so listen, we had some interest in Noah Thomas. It's not going to happen anymore just because we already took 3 wide receivers, 2 of the Kentucky boys, and then Isaiah Hunter. So although there was interest there with Noah Thomas, we're not going to land him just because there's no space anymore. But it would have been a really good addition, 6'6". So wanted to mention that about Noah Thomas. I got some questions. The Huskers would have went after him if they didn't get Harley Gilmore. They did get Harley, so we're not going to be pursuing Noah Thomas. He's going to go somewhere else. I want to give you guys an update. Jaden Moore was a guy that I reported on the channel a couple days ago visiting. He is no longer visiting. He's an edge rusher from Oregon. Pretty talented guy, but Nebraska is going in a different direction at that edge rusher spot. Again, watch out for these 2 guys. I'd imagine Huskers land one of these 2. So we're not going to get Jaden Moore. Jaden Moore's not visiting anymore. That's because Nebraska shut him down, not because he didn't want to come here. Marquise Groves-Kilbrew is another guy who just wrapped up his visit yesterday. I'm kind of on the fence whether or not I think Nebraska is going to get him. I don't know. I really don't know. I've been trying to read this one. I talked to his dad a little bit last week. He really felt like he was interested in Nebraska. I believe the Huskers are going to take 1 more defensive back. I'm leaning towards he's not going to commit here, probably somewhere else. I think we're going to go toward more of a safety here in our last DB commitment. So Marquise Groves-Kilbrew wrapped up his visit. He will no longer be visiting Nebraska. He did visit Nebraska, but I just don't think he's going to commit to Nebraska. So that's kind of the rundown of the prospects. Nobody else is really on our radar at this point in time. So those are kind of the guys we're going after, but not really any other guys that you need to know, at least right now. I'm keeping my eyes on everything. But again, we'll get to the comment section, start putting your stuff in the comment section. I want to talk about a couple other Nebraska transfer news that dropped earlier today about some guys who committed elsewhere who were past Nebraska players. I want to react to that. Dude, I look up Nebraska transfer on the internet, and look what comes up. It's my channel. Constant. Oh my gosh, Wilson. Dude, holy crap! You just look up Nebraska football on Google, and it's my channel. Literally, that is actually ridiculous. Let me look up Nebraska football really quick here. Wilson. I don't know who that is. That Carricker? No, I don't even know who that is. Wilson. That is. Hey, man, that's humbling. That's crazy. But anyways, I want to react live to some of the guys who committed today for Nebraska, who are leaving Nebraska, who are going somewhere else. So let's get here to the on 3. It was announced today that Jalen Lloyd has committed to Oklahoma State. Now, again, I wish Jalen Lloyd the best of luck. It was a business decision with him leaving. He wasn't going to play next year. But at the end of the day, right, like I think Oklahoma State's going to be a pretty good fit for him. I'm happy they landed at a Power 5 program. So wanted to mention that on the channel. Gabe Irving committed the other day to Kansas State. That's a lot better than I thought he was going to land. I thought Gabe Irving might have went down a level, probably to group of 5. That's a really good spot for Gabe. I'm wishing the best of luck, man. I'm really happy he landed in a good spot. So shout out to Gabe Irving, committed over at Kansas State. I think there's a couple others I wanted to react to here. Again, the whole Isaiah Neyor situation was crazy. That was a wild situation because Neyor basically he went to the draft, said I'm not going to be with Nebraska anymore, then withdrew from the draft, entered the portal, committed to Louisville, then decommitted from Louisville, then went out of the portal. Isaiah Neyor, man, he might be a little bit of a head case, but I wish him the best of luck. He's probably going to go off to the NFL draft. Birdie Tagaloa committed to the FCS level at Sacramento State. Hopefully he can find success there. I really liked Birdie Tagaloa coming out of high school, so it is what it is. Hopefully he finds success there. Malachi Coleman went over to Minnesota. That's not too shocking. He really had a good visit over there. Obviously, wish Malachi the best luck. That's going to be interesting. Nebraska plays Minnesota next year in Minneapolis, so we're going to go up against Malachi, his old team. He might give us work. I don't know, but you wish Malachi the best of luck there. I think he's going to compete for a starting job. Kai Wallen, I think we already talked about these ones. But Kai Wallen committed to Oregon State, and that's pretty much about it. We already talked about Dante committing over to Kentucky. So I wanted to talk about all those guys who already committed somewhere else who are from Nebraska. It honestly feels like most of the guys who left Nebraska landed in some pretty good spots, so that's good. Good for them. I'm rooting for every single one of those guys. I'm rooting for Malachi. I'm rooting for Gabe. I'm rooting for Jalen Lloyd. Like I'm going to be tuning in some Oklahoma State football to see him produce. So wish those guys the best of luck. Just reacting in general to Nebraska's recruiting class right now. Like let's just look at it. Nebraska has a really good transfer portal class on their hands. I mean, this is really, really impressive. And I told you guys all fall that I expected Nebraska to do just that because Matt Rhule is such a good transfer portal recruiter. Dana Holgorsen is as well. And Dylan Rhule. A lot of players want to come here and play with Dylan. So, I mean, just overall reacting to this transfer portal class for Nebraska so far, it is phenomenal. Like Jameer Khan, I believe in him a lot coming out of Southern Illinois. Marquez Watson-Trent should be a 4-star transfer. That dude was the Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Year. Nebraska just landed the best player in that single conference. You get the best player in any conference, I'll take them here. So Marquez Watson-Trent, absolute stud, 120 tackles last year. That dude should have got more transfer interest. Like, I don't know how he didn't land with like Georgia, Oregon. We got a steal with Marquez Watson-Trent. Absolute steal. He's going to be starting next year. Like, pencil that down. Feel free to pencil that down right now. Marquez Watson-Trent is starting next year. For the Huskers, like that was just such an underrated addition. 120 tackles. Player of the year in his conference. What are we doing here? Hartley Gilmore, I was super hype about that one. Again, that super high ceiling. Andrew Marshall is my pick to start alongside Sear right next year at corner. Also could play on special teams. Obviously, Dan Key was a big addition. Jason McCullough was a big addition. Justin Rhett's a guy with a high ceiling. So, again, this is just a phenomenal transfer class. And we're not even mentioning Isaiah Hunter, which was huge. Marcos Davila, who's going to be a phenomenal backup. Gabe Moore, who does have a high ceiling. You got some specialists in here. You got Williams Nwaneri, former 5-star. So, I want to give credit where credit is due. Shout out to Matt Rhule. Shout out to Dana Holgorsen. Shout out to the coaching staff in Nebraska because they are putting together a very good transfer portal class, and they are not done. Again, I'd imagine we get 5 or 6 more transfers, and then we'll call it wraps. But very good transfer portal class when it matters the most for the Huskers. So really, really happy about where this stands. Really quickly, last thing I want to talk about before we start getting into the comment section, see what you guys have to say. I want to talk about this that just dropped. Shout out to Sean Callahan. He dropped the 105 roster chart, so he changed it from the scholarship distribution chart to the 105 man roster chart. I think right now, where are the Huskers at from a roster standpoint? We're at 134 players, so we need to cut 30 of these guys on this list. Again, just talking about the guys who are going to be cut here. We're going to cut some walk-ons, I'd imagine. Like Bodie is going to leave. We're gonna probably cut all of these fullbacks. I know you guys don't want to hear that. Baron Liebetritt might come back, but that's just about it. I think everybody else will be cut there at that fullback spot. Kenneth Williams, Rowdy Bowers probably going to be gone at running back. So I know a lot of people are saying Nebraska has to cut 30 more players. Imagine a lot more transfers. literally all of the guys we cut are going to be walk-ons. Literally all of them. So we're not going to, I don't expect to have any more scholarship players leave the Huskers that really matter. It's going to be all walk-ons. So I know people are like concerned. They're like, oh, we're going to have more transfers. No, we're not. We're just going to have walk-ons leave. That's really going to be the primary spot. The only position group that I'm looking out for that we're actually going to cut players at is the secondary. Okay, look at this. I mean, this is an excess of players. Absolute excess of players. And it also should be mentioned that we have a brand new DB coach in Addison Williams. Addison Williams did not recruit a single player in the secondary room. Not a single player. Okay. So there is a very real possibility where Addison Williams is evaluating the talent this spring in the secondary, and he says Jaden Doss, you're gone. Or he says Ramir Stewart, you're gone. Or he says Mario Buford, you're gone. I'm just throwing out names. Probably not going to be Mario. But, there might be a player that you like where Addison Williams says, hey, there's just no spot for you. And again, it used to be taboo in college football to cut players. That's just not the case anymore. Like, you can cut pretty much whoever you want just because there is a set in stone roster limit. So I say all that to say this. The DB room is very interesting because there's 29 guys there. You got to cut that down to, in my opinion, 20. You got to probably cut 9 of these guys. So I'm looking out for guys like Jaden Doss, and I loved Jaden Doss. Loved Jaden Doss coming out of high school. He was a great wide receiver. I didn't like that they changed his position, but he might get cut. DeAndre Barnes might get cut. Even like a Jeremiah Charles might get cut. He's a guy who just kind of never lived up to the hype. He had a lot of hype this offseason. He got benched throughout the season. I'm just throwing out names there, but that is going to be the thing that I'm really intrigued. What do they do with this DB room? What are they going to do here? Because it's a very interesting spot. Really quick, I want to get to some super chats. We'll get back to this, but I want to get to this comment here from Jackson. Thank you so much for the $5. Again, we get a bunch of chats in here. If you want your chat read right away, put me with a super chat. Jackson says, with Marcus Watson Trent's build, he reminds me a lot of Zaire Alexanderson. That's a really good comparison there. Yeah, again, he's small. I mean, he's 5'11", but he's built like a bowling ball, man. Like he's big in a muscular way, and he is a really, really good fundamental tackler. One thing I like about him, more than anything, about Marcus Watson Trent, is that he is reliable. He does not face injury. Too many times we have seen Nebraska linebackers, even Nebraska transfers, they come in and they're so injury prone. Marquez Watson Trent hasn't missed a game in 3 years. He's their Iron Man. So that's one thing that isn't talked about a lot in football circles. That dude does not ever get injured. So I'm pumped up about Marquez Watson Trent along with you. That's a really good comparison, though. Also, I got another super chat here I need to get to here. Husker Faithful, we're 2-3 O-linemen from Killing It, says going for gold. Thank you for the $2. I completely agree with you. Again, we're going to get 2 or 3 offensive linemen. Don't worry. We will get them. It's taken a little bit of time. We didn't get our first options, but we absolutely will get 2 or 3. All right, guys, I want to get back to the scholarship distribution chart, just kind of talking about this, or not the scholarship distribution chart, the 105 cap limit chart, I should say. The linebacker room is also interesting to see what they do here. Again, we have 16 guys. I think you probably got to cut that down maybe to 13, 14. Vince Genatone is the one guy that I'm looking out for. It'll be very, very interesting to see if they keep Vince Genatone on the roster. Very interesting because he only has 2 years of eligibility left. That's a former walk-on and coming out of Nebraska. Like a lot of people like Vince Genatone. Athletic freak, as some will say. I just don't know if they'll keep him, though. That'll be another guy to watch out for. There's some walk-ons here like Derek Wacker, Ethan Duda. Those guys are gone. We already knew that. But it is going to be very interesting to see kind of who they cut in this linebacker room. Defensive line, I don't think they're going to cut anybody here, to be completely honest with you. I think everybody who you see is going to stay along, besides maybe these 2 walk-ons right here, Connor Keeley and David Borchers. Like, those walk-ons will probably get cut. But besides that, I think everybody else will stay here on this D-line. Dylan Parrott is a walk-on. I believe he will stay from some talks I've had. So he looks like he will be back. But other than that, D-line looks the same there. Offensive line, they're probably going to cut some of these walk-ons. Some guys who need to prove it, like need to have a big breakout year. I'm looking at Jason I don't even know how to pronounce his name. His last name. Jason. Somebody let me know in the comment section how to pronounce this guy's last name. I don't know. But Jason is a guy where, he hasn't really ever played. I'm looking out for him. Brock Knutson is a guy maybe might get cut. Tyler Knack. Love Tyler Knack. He's a great guy. I don't know. He's just never played. He was a transfer from Utah. So those are some names I'm looking out for. Even a Jake Peters. Jake Peters got a season-ending injury. It's been pretty injury-prone. I don't know what happens there. So I don't know if he gets cut. Again, it's weird talking about cuts, but that's just the way it is with college football now. And then looking at the tight end room, obviously I think this guy gets cut. Caden Eknernak. Oh my goodness, I don't want to butcher that name. And then Danny King, Connor Schutt are gone. But all those guys will be back as well. So that's just kind of talking about the guys who are going to get cut. They're all pretty much walk-ons. Like, we're not going to lose anybody of value. So just want to talk about that because I got a bunch of questions about such. Looking just at the transfer portal, but actually, before I get back to the transfer portal, I want to get to this comment really quick I got here from my main man, Theo. Theo, thank you so much for your $10. He says, thanks for your fantastic reporting. Theo, man, I appreciate you so much. Again, we've got a bunch of comments here. I'm about to get into the comment section, so get ready to put your stuff in there. But again, if you guys want your comment responded to instantly, hit me with that super chat. Thank you so much, Theo, for your support. As always, my man. As always, thank you so much, Theo. But really quick, going back, my last thing I want to talk about before I get to the comment section here, just looking at the transfer portal, some targets that I want who are still available that I kind of want the Huskers to go after. Like, you look at these top 10 guys, they're pretty much all committed somewhere. Emmanuel Pregnon, obviously, Nebraska has some interest there. Top 10 offensive lineman or top 10 transfer. Besides that, Takario Davis is a guy who I got questions about, transfer from Arizona. He looks like he's going to go to Washington and play for his old coach. Nebraska tried to have some interest there, but he never set up an official visit. I mean, again, the transfer portal is looking pretty bleak. Noah Thomas, Nebraska tried there, but obviously you got Harley Gilmore. We don't need another wide receiver. And then, I mean, pretty much not too much left, right? I mean, transfer portal season's almost done, guys. It's been fun. It's been a fun month, but we got basically 1 or 2 weeks left, and Nebraska will get all their commits, and then we'll get finally ready to go for the entire offseason. So, all right, guys, that's just kind of going over this transfer portal update, the 1-5 cap limit. Start getting your stuff in the comment section. We're going to go for a long while. I'm looking forward to what you guys have to say. So start putting your questions in the comment section, your thoughts, whatever. We got a fun live stream coming up. So make sure to put your stuff in there because we got a lot to talk about. So this guy says, Elijah Pritchard to Nebraska. Yep, we talked about this at the start of the stream. Yes, from the talks inside the program, they expect him to sign tomorrow when he's on a visit. So expect an official commitment tomorrow. Feel pretty good about that. Feel pretty good about him committing tomorrow and signing with the Huskers. Again, that's a big-time addition. I'll save my full analysis for when he officially commits, but he's going to commit. 100%. 100%. Any idea why Pregnon is leaving USC? Yeah, I think it's honestly, well, first off, USC is a sinking ship. That's the main reason. Like, he was their best offensive player, but it's a complete sinking ship right now. Complete sinking ship. Like, their coach not going anywhere quick, Lincoln Riley. They're constantly getting worse every year. I think he wanted to go to a new place for his last year. He was going to come back to USC. He announced a couple weeks ago that he was going to return, and then he said, nope, I'm going to reverse course. I'm not going to return. So I just think he wants a new place to go, but I don't blame him for getting out of that spot. When does the roster need to be cut down to 105? It's either, I believe it's in the summer. I believe it's either in the summer or starting off. I think it's in the summer. I believe it's when the new academic calendar starts. So, yeah, that's when it will officially go back to 105. So that we don't have to make all our cuts until now, but a lot of it's happening right now because those walk-ons, they want to go to a new place. They want to enter the portal and get ahead of it. Who is your favorite prospect in the 26 recruiting class? I mean, easy answer, Jackson Cantwell. Like, a 5-star, number 1 player in the country. Like, that's probably the easy answer. There's a lot of really good running backs Nebraska's after in the 26 class. Like, a bunch. Brian Bonner is a guy that I really love. Coming out of California, he visited Nebraska in the fall. Dude is a speedster. Like, you want a shifty running back? Brian Bonner, 4-star out of California. Love that prospect. DeZevin Walker is a guy that I really like, coming out of Missouri, or he might be coming out of Kansas. That's another 4-star guy. Really, really like DeZevin Walker. Another shifty guy, but has a little bit of physicality to him. So there's a lot of really good running backs Nebraska's after in the 26 class. Demarius Yates is another name coming out of Mississippi. I think he's currently committed to Mississippi State. But I really like Demarius Yates. So there's a lot of really good running backs. A lot of good offensive linemen. I have some concerns with the wide receiver class for Nebraska. They aren't really targeting too many wide receivers. That needs to change. And defensive backs might be a little bit of an issue too. But feel really, really good about this 26 class. It's going to be good, guys. Like we had a really good 25 class. I mean, it turned out to be a top 20 class. You got yourself a bunch of really high 4-stars. I know we didn't get Michael Terry, but it turned out to be a really good 25 class. By Nebraska winning that bowl game and getting the positional coaches that you got, by getting DeKel Shorts, by getting Addison Williams, by getting Terry Bratton, oh my goodness, it's going to be a fun offseason, man. It's going to be a fun summer. I truly believe we're going to be in for a very, 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 very fun recruiting class this time around. We're looking at top 15, maybe top 10. But again, the number one hunt, you got to get Jackson Cantwell, 5-star coming out of Nixon, Missouri. If you can't get Jackson Cantwell, I don't know. Like, that is going to be the talk of the summer. And you got to make his top 10 or top 5 whenever he announces that. But I think Nebraska has a really good shot to get Jackson Cantwell. So that is my answer there. We have all summer to talk about that 26 class. So that's going to be really, really, really fun. Western Maryland scheduled a visit to Nebraska. Yep, we just talked about that. We'll talk about that more on the channel tomorrow. Love your stuff, Wilson. Hey, appreciate you, Eddie, my man. Everybody, subscribe to my man Eddie over there at College Football 360. That boy is a stud. He's going to be a rising star on Nebraska YouTube or on College Football YouTube. So I appreciate you, Eddie, as always, for hanging with me, my man. Nathan says, is there a combined recruiting team ranking high school commits plus transfers? Yes, that's on pretty much every recruiting site. I believe it's on 24/7, on 3. It's pretty much on all of them. So you just look up, I think it's just recruiting rankings. You look up recruiting rankings on 24/7 Sports, and it adds in both. So that's how it works now. Giants Only says, will McCullough start and where? Yeah, that's a really good question. I've got a lot of questions about that. Yes, McCullough will start, transfer from Oklahoma. Where is he going to start? I think it's going to be at the Rover spot. It's either Rover or Jack. I would much rather, personally, I'm not a coach, but I would much rather have Deshaun play at that Rover spot because that uses his physical abilities better. He's so speedy. He's 6'5". He's a great tackler. I'd much rather have him in open space than have him on the edge, just purely pass rushing. I feel like that would be doing a disservice to his abilities. So I think more than likely he's going to be a Rover for Nebraska next year. That's personally where I want him, but again, we'll see. We have a whole offseason to find out, but that's where I imagine he's going to be. So really, really good comment there. Nathan says, what do you think about my son play basketball against Concordia? Yeah, man, your son was balling out there, Nathan. He was balling. Why did Davila come to Nebraska? I think NIL more than anything. Nebraska was desperate to get a backup quarterback. That was very well known. They tried very hard to get a backup quarterback last offseason, and they failed. And they got one basically last second in Jalen Gramstad. So they tried last offseason. They didn't get one. They finally got one this offseason they offered him NIL. That was the main thing. I'm sure there's some other reasons there, but NIL's the main thing for Marcos Davila. Did you hear the punter is going to the NFL? Yeah, Brian Buschini declared for the NFL draft. Hopefully he gets drafted. I have a video ready to go talking about that. I'll post, I don't know, sometime this week, next week, talking about some NFL draft prospects from Nebraska. But yeah, I think he could get an opportunity in the NFL. I really do. When they do cut players, do they stay or do they have to transfer schools? It's their choice. I think a lot of walk-ons will end up staying at Nebraska because a lot of walk-ons they prioritize education. Like if you're a walk-on, you'd much rather stay at Nebraska, which is a top 150 university in the country, and get a good degree than go to some D3 university and play football and get a bad degree. So it just depends. There's going to be some walk-ons who transfer and go play football elsewhere, but there's going to be some who stay put just because they want to get that degree at Nebraska and they want to stay. A lot of walk-ons are from Nebraska, so they don't really want to leave. So yeah. We're getting a running back in the portal or riding with Jamarion as our 2. I think more than likely what's going to happen is we're not going to take a running back right now. We're going to go into the spring giving Quinn Ives an opportunity. We're going to give Mekhi Nelson an opportunity, Connor Booth, Jamarion Parker. All those guys are going to get opportunities. And then it's going to prove to the coaching staff, they're going to say, hey, Quinn Ives just isn't ready. We're going to get another running back. I think that's what's going to happen. They're going to give those guys their chance. But when we go into the summer months, they're going to say, okay, we probably need to get a running back, and then we're going to go get one then. So that's what I would say. That's my prediction. I don't expect us to get one right now just because we literally haven't offered a single running back. We haven't had a single one visit. So I expect us to get one in the summer months. So that'll be a conversation for this summer, not necessarily now. Let's see here. Do you have a prediction for Nebraska wins next year? Again, I'll make that video probably in the next couple weeks, like an early look at the schedule. It's a very easy schedule. It's very manageable, right? Like there's not really a great team on there besides maybe Penn State. I could see Nebraska win 9 next year. I really could if everything went right. But as always, Nebraska never really does everything right, and they'll lose games they shouldn't lose, and they might win a game they shouldn't win. More likely than not, I think Nebraska will probably win 8 next year, probably. I don't know. I'll say my early prediction for a couple of weeks, but probably 8. Just spitballing off the top of my head. I don't want to get my expectations too high. Because what Nebraska does is they get your expectations high throughout the course of the offseason. We're sitting here, it's July, and we're drinking the Kool-Aid, we're talking, playoffs, and then they rip our heart out every single fall. So I try not to get my hopes up, but more likely than not, probably 8 wins. Just kind of saying something. Do you view Matt Rhule and recruiting hard from the transfer portal or just adapting to college football? Oh, as just adapting to college football. He always wanted to recruit hard from the high school ranks. Yeah, no, Kurt, you make a really good point here. Matt Rhule always wanted to do things the old school way. He wanted to get like barely any guys from the portal and then get the primarily guys from the high school ranks. He said something very interesting a couple weeks ago when he did his press conference for the offseason. He said that his philosophy has completely changed. Matt Rhule said that while he was previously old school, he understands now in college football that you have to be aggressive. Okay, you have to be aggressive. You have to take a bunch of transfers. You look at a program like Clemson. Clemson has tried to do things the old school way, and they have crumbled over time. They are no longer the powerhouse they used to be. So Matt Rhule's philosophy has changed. He has adapted to college football. He's going to be more aggressive in the transfer portal every single year. I know some fans don't love that, right? The fans want to, primarily get high school guys, and we're always going to, that's always going to be a staple. We're never going to be Colorado out here getting 40 guys from the portal. But just know we're always going to be aggressive because that's how the portal is nowadays. That's how college football is nowadays. You got to adapt. So yeah, Matt Rhule definitely changed philosophy from where it used to be. 100% he did. Will you make Nebraska basketball content, and do you think we win our first March Madness game this year? As for do we win our first March Madness game this year, I don't want to get my hopes up, man. I really don't. But I will make Nebraska basketball content. Let me know in the comment section right now. Do you want Nebraska basketball content? I've been kind of messing around with it. I think I absolutely will because I'm telling you what, it's going to be very hard to make daily Nebraska football content on this channel, from February to March. So I'm going to have to probably branch out to basketball a little bit. So we will do basketball content for sure. It definitely helps that Nebraska's really good right now. We're 12-2, play Iowa tomorrow. So yes, I will do Nebraska basketball content. My man Accent says, imagine having to face off against Nwaneri, Keona Davis, Westermerlin, and McCullough on the same play, and then having Lenhart and Van Poppel come in as subs. Yeah, dude, our D-line's looking nasty. Our D-line is looking very, very nasty for next year. I think more likely than not, our starting lineup is going to be, on the defensive line, it's going to be Riley Van Poppel, Cameron Lenhart, and Elijah Judy. I know some people don't want to hear that. I think that's going to be the starting 3, and then the other guys are going to kind of rotate in. Westermoreland probably will be a jack. Maybe 3 technique. Maybe. I don't know. We will see there. Is Singleton coming back from his JUCO years? No, Deshaun Singleton's not coming back. I got a couple questions about that. Deshaun Singleton's ready to move on. He's like 24 years old. He does not want to spend another year in college. And I don't think Nebraska really wants him back. Like, Deshaun Singleton really struggled this year. I was disappointed with Deshaun. I was a big Deshaun Singleton truther this offseason, man. He struggled. He was not great. I know a lot of people love to give Hartzog. They kind of go at him. Singleton wasn't good either. I don't think anybody in that secondary was good this year besides Sear Wright and Tommy Hill when he was healthy. How will there be running backs available in the summer, says Nathan? Because the transfer portal opens up in the summer. It'll open up basically, I think, May. Or the end of April, it'll open up. So there's going to be running backs who end up transferring. Remember, like A.J. Allen, for example, when he transferred away from Nebraska, he entered in the spring. So the transfer portal will open up once again in the spring. There's going to be some more guys who enter Nebraska, probably going to take 1 or 2 more guys at that point in time. And I expect one of them to be a running back. Do you have a starting lineup prediction, both sides of the ball, assuming the guys we think will be here actually sign with us? I mean, do you want me to run through it right now, like our starting lineup next year? Okay, screw it. I'll do it. Quarterback, Dylan Raiola. Running back, Emmett Johnson. Your 3 wide receivers, going to be Dane Key, Ja'Cory Barney, and Isaiah Hunter. Your tight end is going to be Carter Nelson. And Hoiberg, I guess, kind of too. Your offensive line. Let's throw Elijah Pritchard in there. Elijah Pritchard is going to be on a right tackle. You're going to have Gunnar Gatula start at left tackle. You're going to have it's tough. I'm forgetting some names for whatever reason. You're going to have Corcoran start at right tackle. You're going to have the New Jersey boy. Why am I forgetting his name right now? I left guard. Gosh, it's sliding my mind. New Jersey boy. Who is the New Jersey offensive guard? Oh my gosh, this is killing me. Why am I forgetting his name? I was just thinking about him. Justin Evans Jenkins. Justin Evans Jenkins is going to start at left guard. And then the center starter, I believe, might be Sam Sledge, might be Henry Latufsky, something like that. So that's your starting lineup in the offense. As for defense, we just kind of went through the defensive line. It's going to be Van Poppel. It's going to be Judy. It's going to be Lenhard on that 3. Then your linebackers is going to be the Georgia Southern transfer, Vincent Shavers. We'll see what happens at Jack. I think it'll be McGahee, but you might bring another transfer there. And then your 5 defensive backs. Your 5 defensive backs will be Sear Wright. I think it'll be Andrew Marshall. It'll be Desan McCullough at Rover, Marquez Buford at safety. And then the other safety spot is up for grabs. I could see Caleb Benning winning that spot. I could see Justin Rhett winning that spot. I could see Mario Buford winning that spot. So that other safety spot's up for grabs. Kicker will be John Hull. Punter will be the guy we brought in from Washington. The long snapper will be the guy we brought in from New Hampshire. Kick returner, if we want to go that far, I think kick returner will be Andrew Marshall. Punt returner will be who will be punt returner? I don't even know. Who will be punt returner. I just want somebody shifty. Give me a Harley Gilmore as punt returner. So there you go. Off the top of my head, that is our starting lineup for next year. Obviously, don't write that down because there's a lot of things that are going to happen from now to then. We're still going to get some more transfers. We might have some guys leave, but if I'm going to spitball, that's the lineup I think we have. Do you think that the NCAA committee will make changes to the portal rules? I do think they will. It's tough. It's tough because I think the portal opens up too soon because players end up entering the portal before their team plays in a bowl game. However, they literally have to enter the portal when they do, like being like early December, because they have to enroll at their new university by the spring. So they can't really move back the deadline. But I think they're going to change. When it comes to the portal, I think they're going to change the unlimited transfer rule. I don't think they're going to allow transfers to transfer as many times as they do nowadays. But yeah, they're going to make some changes because it's still the Wild West, man. We've been talking about this for 4 years, and they haven't done really anything. Who do you think will be our special teams coach? I would say, again, the betting favorite is Mark Scott from Baylor. And then the other guy I'm looking out for is Sean Snyder from Kansas State. Those are the two that I would say are the betting favorites. Husker 22 says, you guys are missing an incredible FCS championship game. I got that on my TV over here, man. I'm watching it a little bit. I got 28-25. I'm rooting for Montana State. Is my boy Colt Payton playing for North Dakota State? I don't know. That's my west side. Craig says, I think Nebraska finally has a coach and a staff to make Nebraska a contender. I hope they can keep Dylan Rhule for 4 years. I don't think they're going to keep Dylan for 4 years. But, yes, I do believe we'll be a contender, meaning we'll probably win 10 games. I still have questions whether or not I think Matt Rhule is actually going to bring Nebraska back to a national championship. In my heart of hearts, and some of you guys might not like me for this, I just don't know if Matt Rhule will ever win a national championship in Nebraska. But at the same time, I don't know if really we should be concerned about that. We're not really eyeing a national championship. We just want to be competitive year in and year out. What I'm hoping Matt Rhule can do at Nebraska, what I'm hoping he can do, is bring us back to national relevancy year in and year out. Okay, make us Penn State. We're basically on the outside looking into the playoff every year. We're competing for a Big Ten title. Make us Penn State, and then when Matt Rhule leaves, maybe he can give us a successor like a Tom Osborne who can take us to the next level. That's what I'm hoping. I just don't know if Matt Rhule necessarily is the guy to bring us a national championship. I don't know. Who's your favorite UFL team? DC Defenders. DC Defenders are on the UFL, right? They didn't get cut. I'm a DC Defenders guy. I'm a DC guy out of heart. Washington Commanders made the playoffs. Let's go, man. Washington Commanders, we're back. Jaden Daniels, Rookie of the Year. Yes, sir. What y'all know about the Washington Commanders? But UFL team, I'm a DC Defenders guy. Canadian Football League, Saskatchewan Rough Riders, absolutely. Let me know down below, who's your favorite CFL team? Now, I like the CFL though, because I get so desperate for football in July that me and my dad will just start watching CFL, and I'll be watching the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Ottawa Senators, or not, that's an NHL team. Never mind. But the CFL is so funny because they got so many different rules there. They only got 3 downs. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. My man Ross, he says, appreciate the basketball coverage the other day, especially after quality win. Absolutely, dog. We will be doing basketball coverage. I cannot promise baseball. I will tell you that. I know you want some baseball. I cannot promise that. I just don't follow baseball as much as I should. Like I will watch Nebraska baseball. I'm not incredibly knowledgeable about baseball. I don't know if I'll cover that unless we make the College World Series or make a run in regionals. That's the only case I'll cover Nebraska baseball. Just probably not during the season though. But if Nebraska baseball does make the regionals, I absolutely will follow them. I love college baseball regionals. Like that's when it gets fun. You know, like college football playoffs, college basketball, NCAA tournament. But then when you get to college baseball regionals, like I think that's as fun as it gets. College baseball regionals, super regionals, and of course College World Series, that's super fun. Nebraska gotta win at some point and make it to Omaha. They got to, man. They got to. Grant says, I want Nebraska basketball content. I'm bringing it to you, my man. I'll make a video tomorrow about the Iowa game. Hopefully we get that dub. We could have used Gabe Ervin to return, but he's at K-State now. I don't know. I mean, Gabe was okay. I think the problem with Gabe is that he just wasn't reliable. Like, he was a good player when he was healthy. The thing was, when he was healthy. He was never healthy. He got injured all 4 years being on campus. So, I like Gabe. I liked him a lot as a running back, but he just was never healthy. So, I wish him the best of luck at K-State, though. I'll tell you that much. But, yeah, I wasn't too mad about losing him. Give me Barney for punt return. Yeah, that's a good one. It's tough because I think Barney's going to be so good as a wide receiver next year. Like, I know we like to hype up the transfers all the time. Like, Dane Key's a good transfer. Isaiah Hunter's a good transfer. I am going to tell you this right now, and this is going to be my take all offseason long. Okay? Ja'Cory Barney will be better than Dane Key next year. Ja'Cory Barney will be better than Isaiah Hunter next year. Ja'Cory Barney will be better than every single Nebraska wide receiver next year, maybe every single Big Ten wide receiver. That's because Ja'Cory Barney is special, and he is a very, 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 very good player. So, for that reason, I just don't know if I want him to be a punt returner because I don't want to get him to get banged up. So, that's what I got to say there. Also, really quick, before I get back to these comments, everybody, hit that like button on the stream. Let's get to 100 likes on the stream. It takes 2 seconds. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Really helps me out. Let's get to 100 likes on the stream. But keep putting stuff in the comment section. We're going to keep rolling here, talking transfer portal, talking whatever. But let's get to 100 likes. Everybody hit that like button on the stream. Where did Dante Dowdell go? He went to Kentucky. I wish him the best of luck there. Any man who talks about Nebraska volleyball needs to log off. Hey, bro, I don't think that's the case. I think men can appreciate women's sports. I truly believe that. I personally am not enough, or I don't know enough about volleyball to really talk about it. But I think men can talk about women's sports. Come on. I think we can appreciate that volleyball program for what it is. It's a good program. Now I'm pretty mad they didn't win the national championship this year, but we can appreciate them for being a very, very good program. That's what I can tell you about that. Brandon says, I think Deshaun will play Jack because he had more success when he was at Indiana. Well, he also got more. He had more success at Indiana because he was on the field more at Indiana. At Oklahoma, they just had probably one of the best linebacker corps in the country with Danny Stutzman. So he didn't get on the field as much as he should. It wasn't his fault. No, I don't like him at Jack. I think his upside is at Rover, to be completely honest with you. He can still rush the passer at Rover, but I would much rather have an athletic freak who has really good 40 time, who has really good length. Like, he can play man coverage too. Isaac Gifford was not good at Rover because he couldn't play man coverage. Deshaun McCullough can play man coverage. Okay, and here's another thing. Deshaun McCullough can play either Jack or Rover. I would much rather give him the spots that we have more of a desperate need at. And we have a more desperate need at Rover because if we don't play him at Rover, who is going to play at Rover? I don't know. I'd much rather put him there and then put somebody else at Jack because we have a lot of guys who could potentially start at Jack. We're going to bring in a transfer who could start at Jack. We could, have McGahee start at Jack. So we have a much bigger need at Rover, and I think Deshaun fits Rover better. So I'd much rather have him at that Rover spot. Do you believe there will be a cap enforced within the next 2 years? I don't. As for NIL cap, it's just very hard to implement. Very, very hard. I don't think they will. There's going to be some legislation, but yeah, they're not gonna do that. So this guy says Notre Dame didn't lose one player to the portal. Well, Notre Dame's also playing right now. They're gonna lose some guys when their season's over, but yeah, they're still playing football. So of course they didn't lose anybody. Nickel says I never understood that Coach Blank can't win a national championship. It depends on the team they can build. Oh, I mean I don't know. I just think. Bear with me here. Bear with me. I just don't know if Matt Rhule is a good enough coach to win a national championship. And I love Matt Rhule. Okay, I'm a Matt Rhule truther. End every video with go Matt Rhule. One thing I've been so disappointed with in the Matt Rhule era is his inability to win close games. And that comes down to schematics, that comes down to clutch gene, that comes down to time management. A lot of times, I just don't think he's done a very good job at that. You look at the best coaches who've won the biggest games. Okay, Tom Osborne, great game planner. Nick Saban, phenomenal game planner. Kirby Smart, great game planner. Okay, those are the guys who tend to win all the time. You look at the NFL, Bill Belichick. He had some areas where he wasn't the best at, but what he was a great game planner, and he made good decisions during the game. I just don't know if Matt Rhule can stack up against some of the best coaches in the Big Ten and out-scheme them. Because I haven't seen that so far. Okay, he got out-coached by Kirk Ferentz this year. He got out-coached by Lincoln Riley. He got out-coached by UCLA's brand new guy who a lot of us kind of laughed at when we hired them. He got out-schemed by Brett Bielema. Brett Bielema absolutely destroyed Nebraska from a schematic standpoint in that ballgame. We were lucky he was even close. So I said all that to say this. I love Matt Rhule. Don't get me wrong. And I think Matt Rhule is going to have success in Nebraska. I just don't know in my heart of hearts if Matt Rhule is a good enough game planning coach to out-scheme a Kirby Smart, a Dan Lanning, even like a Sharon Moore. I don't know. But that's one thing that I'm waiting to see. Okay, he could prove me wrong. I know a couple things about Matt Rhule. I know he's a great CEO. He's a great players coach. He's turned out to be a lot better of a recruiter than I initially anticipated him to be. I think he's a great talent developer. I think Matt Rhule is one of the best talent developers in the country, meaning he can take 0 stars and make them NFL players. I believe that. The only question I have about Matt Rhule, and it's been my question since last year, is if the game gets tight and you're playing a very good opponent, can you out-scheme and make adjustments and beat a big team in a big game? His best win so far for Nebraska was against Colorado. And I don't think it's that hard to out-scheme Deion Sanders. So, that's my big question there. And I know I might get hate for that. Like I'm the biggest Matt Rhule optimist. I'm not hating on him. I told you guys I think Matt Rhule is going to have success in Nebraska and lead us to be a very good program. But I just don't know if he is a national championship winning coach. Okay. Should we really be talking national championship as Nebraska fans? Probably not. Probably not. Because we haven't made a bowl game in 8 years until this year. So I said all that to say this. I think Matt Rhule's a good coach. I don't think he's good enough to maybe win a national championship. Okay. Feel free to crucify me if you want. That's my take. We've seen that through 2 years. We saw that at Temple. We saw that at Baylor. I have 10 years of film to back up my opinion there. There's a world where Matt Rhule absolutely proves me wrong. I'm not hating on Matt Rhule. I'm a big Matt Rhule optimist. I believe in Matt Rhule probably a lot more than you guys do. It's just my rational opinion there. So I love to hear your guys' opinion, though. I would absolutely love to hear yours. My man Cal says, fly, Eagles, fly. Oh, my gosh. We got an Eagles fan in here. Bro, what are we doing here? I hate the Eagles, man. Hate them. Sadly, Tampa Bay will take your Commanders out. There's no way. There's no way Baker Mayfield. No way Baker Mayfield is beating my Commanders. No way. No way. Put some money where your mouth is, Cade. Come on. I'll bet you on that one. No, I'm kidding. I'm not. What defensive player this year will be last year's caliber of Ty Robinson? See, if you asked me a couple weeks ago, I would have told you Jamari Butler. Jamari Butler was always that guy where I expected him to have that big leap. Jamari Butler is no longer with Nebraska, so I can't say that anymore. It's tough. It's tough. I would say Cameron Lenhard. I'm a big Cameron Lenhart truther. Again, people forget that he was a black shirt this year. He had a tough year. He wasn't the player that we necessarily expected him to be, but Cam Lenhart is still a really, really good guy, and he's a leader. He's a hard worker. He has a lot of good physical traits. I think it'll probably be Cam Lenhart. Will he be as good as Ty Robinson? No, but he's going to take that jump like Ty Robinson took. That's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting him to take a big jump. Nathan says, I love these lives. Absolutely, man. It's fun. It's fun bringing it to you guys. Absolutely super fun. Chopping it up. Are there any power backs still in the portal? Yeah, there's a couple, but Nebraska's not targeting them. So it's just not even worth talking about. Like, I would love them to get a running back right now. What's more likely going to happen is they're going to take a running back in the summer. That's what I think is going to happen. Barney won't be better than Jeremiah Smith. You're right. You're right. And then Sam says the exact same thing. Careful though, Wilson. Ja'Cory Barney's a stud, but the best receiver in the Big Ten is Jeremiah Smith. I agree with you. Jeremiah Smith is on a different planet. Like, that dude's probably the best receiver in the country right now as a true freshman. So, okay, Ja'Cory Barney won't be the best receiver in the Big Ten. I guess we'll have to settle for second place. But I say all that to say this. I really, really like Ja'Cory Barney. And I think, again, the hype all offseason, it's always this. We always hype up the transfers, okay? But we forget how good the returning players are. I'm telling you right now, Ja'Cory Barney's going to have 1,000 yards next year. There's my hot take, man. That's going to be my hot take all summer. Ja'Cory Barney, what he did this year, dude, in a god-awful Marcus Satterfield offense. What he did this year, setting the receptions record for a Nebraska freshman, beating out Wan'Dale Robinson. I mean, my goodness. I'm a big, big, big Ja'Cory Barney truther. So, I think he'll be really good. Yep, running back transfer this summer. That's my take there. That is my take. We need ourselves a Jeremiah Smith. I think we got ourselves one with Ja'Cory Barney. I don't know if Ja'Cory Barney is as good of a deep threat, but Ja'Cory Barney, I think, will be a really, really darn good receiver. First-round type of talent. My man Sal. Sal says, I believe Coach Rhule is a perfect fit with the right players on this team. We can get her done. I agree with you, Sal. I agree with you, my man. I completely agree. My man says, hell to the Redskins. Absolutely. Hail to the Redskins. Hail victory. We get a playoff win. Fun fact. I'm a Redskins fan, Commanders fan, whatever you want to call it. I have never in my entire life witnessed my team win a playoff game. The last playoff win was in 2005. I was born in 2006. Some of you older guys might crunch a bit like, 2006? Yeah, I've never watched them win a playoff game, so hopefully I can watch at least one of my football teams have some success next week, man. If you recruit well and have great coordinators, anything can happen. I agree with that, Sam. I completely agree. Completely agree. You're only as good as your assistant coaches. Very good point as well by my man Rory. That's why it's so important that we have such a good coaching staff. That's why I was so frustrated going into this offseason that we had, Marcus Satterfield. We were bringing him back because we all knew what Marcus Satterfield was. Marcus Satterfield's not a good coordinator. So it felt like a wasted year that we didn't make the move that we did, getting rid of Satterfield. But I feel like we're in a really good spot. We have two good coordinators in Holgerson and Butler. We have a bunch of really good positional coaches. I'm a big Barthel truther at a running back spot. DeKel Shorts is a rising stud receivers coach. Dom Raiola has actually done a pretty good job. I think getting, Terry Brown from the Chiefs, very underrated move there. I like Addison Williams. I think he's a good recruiter. So there's a lot of things that Nebraska has done in the personnel standpoint that's really good for Matt Rhule. So I agree with that a head coach is only as good as his surrounding cast, and that's something I preach on the channel all the time. Donovan Jones may start at safety. Yeah, that's another name I'm looking out for. Very physical player. I like him more at safety than I do at corner because I don't think he's fast enough to play corner. I like him at safety, though. Or he might play rover. They might train him to play rover. What do you think about Watson Trent? Or where do you think Watson Trent is put in at linebacker? Just middle linebacker. Standard middle linebacker. Nothing crazy there. He's going to play the mic. He'll play the mic. But yeah, Watson Trent, he's going to be a leader on the defense. He's going to be a black shirt. I love that dude, man. That was probably the best addition Nebraska's got in this portal process besides Dane Key. That's how high I am on him. Very high. So the way Rhule is recruiting, do you think they'll be... So the way Rhule is recruiting, do you think they be good this year? Yeah, man. I do. I do think we're going to be good next year. I think we're going to win maybe 8-9 games. We have a good recruiting class coming in, good transfer class. We're going to be very solid, man. Do you think Cortez will play much next year? I mean, he has an opportunity. My whole thing about Cortez, okay? My whole thing about Cortez is it's not. I don't have questions about him as a receiver and about his talents. The only thing I have questions about is how committed is he going to be to putting in the work every single day. Every single day. Is he going to buy in? Is he going to do all the small things? Is he going to love his teammates, learn the playbook, do everything at a high level? Because if he does that, I think the sky is the limit for Cortez Mills. But however, we have seen so many wide receivers come in here. This is not a knock on Cortez Mills. There's so many wide receivers who we've seen commit to Nebraska and they're big time prospects and they come here and they're not bought in. So many of them. Davon Hall, Isaiah McMorris, Latrell Neville, Sean Hardy, Camonte Grimes. I'm just throwing out names of busts. Omar Manning. Okay. There's so many hyped up receivers who've came here and haven't done the right things. Can he do all the right things? If he does, I think it'll be very good. I don't know. I'm higher on Isaiah Mosey myself. I think Isaiah Mosey's really good. I think him and Cortez is going to be a little nasty duo there. But we got a deep receiver core. So that's why I said about all that. Philbert says, do you think Dana Holgorsen and Matt Rhule is the best combination Nebraska's had in a while? Well, yes, the best combination Nebraska's had in a while because we haven't had good coaches in a very, very long time. So, yes, it is the best combination Nebraska's had in a while. Again, the main thing I like about Dana Holgorsen is that he's not going anywhere anytime soon. I don't believe he's going to take another head coaching job. And I also like that Dana Holgorsen is basically like another coach. He's another set of eyes. He has the experience. He's a veteran. It's good to have that. Satterfield didn't provide anything from a schematic standpoint. He didn't provide anything from a leadership standpoint. He was just a lame duck. So to have a former head coach in the building is really, really big for us, man. Really big. Dylan's pocket presence needs to improve. I agree with you, and I think it did improve as the course of the season went on. Like, he stopped taking as many bad sacks. I just think, honestly, Marcus Satterfield's play concepts were so bad. We're so bad. Like, there'd be times where it would be a play action pass, and they'd send Banks on a deep route and Nair on a deep route, and like there'd be nowhere for him to throw, and he'd just be standing there in the pocket like, oh my gosh, I gotta throw this football away or take a sack. Like, I just think a lot of times we took too many sacks, not because of Dylan, just because Marcus Satterfield was terrible and didn't put up the right game plan. So I have a lot of qualms about that, though. Really, a lot of qualms. Eagles will beat the Packers. I agree with y'all, man. I agree. I absolutely agree with you. I do think the Eagles will beat the Packers. Yeah, it's going to be a fun first round of the NFL playoffs. I think Eagles will beat Packers. I got my Commanders beating the Bucks. I got Vikings beating the Rams. I got Texans beating the Chargers. Ravens beating the Steelers. And then Bills beating the Broncos. I think not too many crazy things happening there in my predictions. Who do you think is the most underrated starter on defense next year? Underrated starter. Underrated. Well, I think whoever starts at corner besides Cedar Wright's going to be pretty darn good. I have three names. It's either going to be Andrew Marshall, it's either going to be Larry Tarver, or it's going to be Amari Sanders. I think whoever starts alongside Cedar Wright's going to be really, really good. So that's what I would say there as an underrated starter. I don't know. Maybe, yeah, that's really about it. I mean, we don't know who all our stars are going to be, so it's tough to say. There's no underrated Nebraska players a lot, though. A lot of times we just hype up a lot of players. A lot of times we have more overrated players than underrated players. I miss Xavier Betts. I wish he loved football. Yeah, I mean, he was a talent, man. He was a talent, but he didn't love football. I think his head wasn't in the right spot. He wasn't good in the classroom. He had some red flags. One thing that Nebraska wasn't as selective as they should have been getting guys from Omaha back in the Scott Frost era. Like, Xavier Betts was a red flag walking out of high school. He had 2 offers. He was a 4-star prospect and he had 2 offers. That was a red flag. If you have 2 offers on a 4-star prospect, I think something bad's going on there. So Xavier Betts, that was interesting. But I wish him the best of luck. He has not went down the best path in life, to say the least. Obviously, not gonna open that can of worms, but he's really having trouble. Why did Roger Gradney go to linebacker? He was good at receivers. Roger Gradney was a DB. He was a DB. I like him a lot better at linebacker, to tell you the truth. I don't think he's speedy enough to play DB. But I like Roger Gradney at the linebacker spot. But no, he was never a receiver. Matt Rhule doesn't want Isaiah Nair back. Yeah, I don't think it was necessarily like Matt Rhule told Isaiah Nair to leave. I just think there really wasn't a spot for Isaiah Nair anymore. We were bringing in new transfers. Dana Holgorsen wanted to reshape that room. It wasn't like a con on Isaiah Nair. I think people forget, we have this Iowa game, etched in our memory of Isaiah Nair dropping that pass. Isaiah Nair was like our best receiver this year, especially, or not our best receiver this year, but he was the best receiver in the first 6 games. Like, you rewatch that UTEP game, he was the main one catching balls. Colorado game, he was the main one catching balls. Same way in Northern Illinois, or Iowa, same way in Illinois. So, Isaiah Nair was good. He just got worse as the year progressed. So, I think Nebraska fans are too harsh about Isaiah Nair. Like, yeah, he dropped some balls at the end of that year. It is what it is, but I wish him the best of luck. There's no bad blood there, at least my opinion there. How do you forget the Riley Diaco combo? That's facts. How did we forget that? Everybody, Mike Riley, Bob Diaco, that was the best head coach coordinator duo in the history of college football. It was undefeated. It was undefeated in games that weren't rigged. It was undefeated. Can you feel the strain? Do you feel the strain? Shout Bob Diaco, man. That dude was a cornball, man. That dude, I love Bob Diaco. He was so funny, man. He was so funny. Yeah. I don't know. We had some good coaches in the Mike Riley era. Funny enough, though. Keith Williams, should never let him go, man. Should never let him go. Should never let him go. Got in late. Anything on the OT in the portal? Rewind the stream, my man. Right at the beginning, my man. We talked about Elijah Pritchett. He's about to commit. I also wish we didn't miss out on Xavier Watts. Yeah, me too. But I honestly, for my sake, I'm glad that Xavier Watts went somewhere else because he's finding success at Notre Dame. He's going to be a first-round NFL draft pick potentially. If he went to Nebraska, he might have been a bust. Like, let's be honest here. So, although it sucks to lose guys from Omaha like Xavier Watts, I think he made the right decision for his future, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him, man. I really don't. Like, it's funny the way it works with Nebraska recruiting Omaha. Like, when we recruit Omaha, the guys we get end up being trash, and the guys we miss out on end up being really good. I just don't get it. I never get it with Omaha. Super Bowl, Lions-Chiefs in Lions win Super Bowl. I hope Lions win Super Bowl, man. I hope so. I do not want the Chiefs winning it. I know a lot of y'all are proud Chiefs fans because Nebraska Chiefs. I can't rock with the Chiefs, dude. Can't do it. Can't. I mean, the NFL is rigged towards the Chiefs. Prove me wrong. Do you have any news on Ethan Nation? No news on Ethan Nation, man. From what it sounds like, I think Ethan Nation either is going down to the JUCO level or he quit football. Pretty sad. I don't have the whole story there with Ethan Nation. He got kicked off the team though. What I do know is he got kicked off the team, but I don't have the whole story there. I do not have the whole story. How about them Chiefs? Nah, bro. I don't rock with the Chiefs, man. I can't rock with the Chiefs, man. I can't do it. Can't do it. Feel free to hate me if y'all want. Real quick, guys, make sure to hit that like button on the stream. We'll keep going here, but want to get to 100 likes on the stream. Really helps me out, helps more people see this. So hit that like button. Let's get to 100 likes on the stream really quick. Absolutely. Filbert says, do you think Rhule... Let me reread this. He says, do you think Rhule game bring Bo Pelini or maybe Osborne-style plays? Well, I mean, it's probably going to bring Bo Pelini-style plays because Bo Pelini ran that pro-style offense, so we're running pro-style offense. As for Tom Osborne plays, no, because we're not running the option anymore. We're not going under center anymore. No, we're not. I don't think so. There used to be one. Is there a team psychologist? There is. We have a couple of team psychologists, man. Ken says, you can dislike the Chiefs, but they certainly don't suck. You're right. They don't suck, but I can't rock with the Chiefs, man. I just can't. The NFL rigs those games, man. I'm telling you guys. Now, I'm just playing around, but I don't know. I grew up with so many Chiefs fans growing up, and they have gotten so obnoxious over the last couple years, and I'm a lowly Redskins / Commander fan. So I'm walking into high school every single day, or middle school, and I'm getting absolutely clowned on by these Chiefs fans because my Redskins suck and their Chiefs are winning the Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes. So how do you think that makes me feel, man? So over the years, I've definitely resented the Chiefs more and more. Do not like that team. I'm not rivals with them or anything, but I don't root for them by any means. But yeah, that's my take right there. That's my take. Oh my, we got Broncos fans here talking about the game yesterday, man. Hey, Broncos fans though, you guys can't be talking about that game yesterday because Chiefs had their backup sitting. Yeah, the Chiefs had Carson Wentz playing yesterday, man. The Chiefs had Carson Wentz playing yesterday. We can't be talking smack about that game with Carson Wentz under center. Come on, guys. Come on. What are we doing here? What do you think about my New England Patriots head coaching search? Who do you think they're going to get? I think they're going to get Mike Vrabel. I think that's going to be a darn good hire if you do get Mike Vrabel. Should have never been fired. Should have never been fired from Tennessee. So that's going to be the easy pick. I literally guarantee you that happens like very quickly. I imagine it happens in 2 days. 2 days. Mark my words, clip it. On Wednesday, January 8th, 2025, Mike Vrabel will be hired by the New England Patriots. But you know what's Gerard Mayo got dealt a very bad hand there, though. Got dealt a very bad hand. I think he found out that he was fired basically before the game, and then he won the game on purpose so they didn't no longer have the first round for the first overall pick. That's what I think happened there. But that's my take. Opinions on next year's defense. I'm a big defense guy. I think it'll continue to get better, man. Again, it doesn't matter who our defensive coordinator is. Matt Rhule, wherever he's been, has always had a good defense, no matter who his guy is. So I think we're going to continue to have a good defense. I was impressed with John Butler in the bowl game. I'm not yet ready to give him the crown. I know some people are doing that. They're like overacting. They're like, oh my gosh, John Butler, he's going to be the guy. Like I'm not ready to do that, but he did have a really good bowl game performance. I think our defense is going to be really good. We got a bunch of talent. We got the best talent we've had on defense in probably a decade. So, but it's gonna hurt losing Ty. It's gonna really hurt losing Ty. That's the only player I'm really mad about losing. Maybe Tommy Hill too. Will the Cowboys ever be good again and make it to the Super Bowl? I know you guys won yesterday. Man, I hope not. I hope you're not a Cowboys fan. I think the Cowboys will be good at some point again. I really do. But Dak ain't the answer, man. I'm telling you. Dak Prescott's not the answer. Not the answer. Hypothetically speaking, can Dylan Raiola go toe-to-toe with Davis Warren? He's already better than Davis. Davis Warren is terrible, dude. Davis Warren is absolutely terrible. He's already better than Davis Warren. But here's the thing. Davis Warren isn't going to start for Michigan next year. Okay, it's going to be that new 5-star Bryce Underwood. So that's the secret there. Like we're going to have a 5-star battle on our hands in Lincoln, 4th game of the year. They should start Joe Milton, though. Bro, no, they should not start Joe Milton. Joe Milton is not good. He's like the highlight demon. Like he'll make every single game he starts, he makes like one crazy play, with his rocket arm. But he's so undisciplined. No, Drake May's a stud, man. Drake May. The Patriots are in good hands with Drake May. Really good hands. Watching from snow-covered northern Kentucky, man, that's awesome, Tom. Hey, I wish Nebraska was snow-covered right now. They were saying on the forecast that we were going to get a lot of snow last night in Omaha. We turned out we got no snow. Again, we never get snow here. They say it's going to snow, and then it doesn't snow, and then it snows at the most unpredictable times. I don't know. I wouldn't mind some snow. But then again, with snow comes ice. I don't know if I really want snow then. I don't know. Let's see. Who we get in for special teams coach? Pick one, only one. If I have to bet, it'd be Mark Scott. Mark Scott from Baylor. That is my prediction. Ever seen the show Blue Mountain State? I have. I have seen that show. Very good show. Very good show. Who will replace Ty Robinson? I'm going to miss him. Probably Kim Lenhart. Kim Lenhart and Riley Van Poppel. It's funny, Matt Rhule compared Riley Van Poppel to Ty Robinson earlier this season. He said RVP is going to be the next Ty. I don't know if I'm ready to go there yet, but Riley Van Poppel is going to be really good, I think. Super Bowl prediction, I'm going to go with Lions-Bills. I'm going to go Lions-Bills. Like, I know the Chiefs have a really good record this year, 15-2. I just don't think the Chiefs are as good as the record may say. I don't know. I think, and the one loss they didn't have was to the Bills. I think the Bills, it's finally going to be their year they make a Super Bowl, and I got Lions as well. So you basically have two cursed teams, and the Bills and the Lions facing off. We'll see what happens there. I'm rooting for the Lions personally, but if the Bills and the Lions played, I wouldn't matter. I wouldn't care who won. It's going to be a good game. What do you think our record will be next year? Again, just spitballing, I think maybe 8 or 9 wins. But that'll be a video probably later this month. Coin flip, Mike Eckler and Scott. Yeah, I think more likely now it'll be Scott. Mike Eckler, I don't think will leave. Like, yes, he has some Nebraska connections, but I think more likely than not he's going to want to stay with Tennessee, as he should, man. Tennessee's a good spot, a good destination. No snow, Omaha Dome. I'm telling you, dude, that Omaha Dome's crazy. If you're outside of Omaha, you don't know what it's like. The Omaha Dome works its wonders. Works its wonders. Who do you think will win the national championship? I got Texas. I've had Texas since the very beginning. And I'm honestly, feel free to roast me. I'm rooting for Texas to win the national championship. I do not hate Texas. I know some of you guys hate Texas. I personally do not hate Texas. I got no resentment towards them. The reason why I don't have any resentment toward Texas is because Texas doesn't hate us. Like, Nebraska fans, they hate on Texas all the time. They're like, horns down. I just think that's kind of sad because, okay, cool, you can hate Texas, but Texas never thinks about Nebraska. They don't hate us at all. It feels like a very one-sided rivalry. So I'm actually rooting for Texas. I like Steve Sarkisian. I like that he kind of turned around his life. Like, he used to be an alcoholic. He used to just, he had a tough life, and he turned it around, turned to be a really good coach. So I like Steve Sarkisian. I think Texas wins, man. I really do. I think Ohio State's very overrated right now. Of course, they blew out Oregon. I think Texas beats Ohio State. And then I think, spoiler alert, I think whoever wins the Ohio State-Texas game is going to win the Natty. I don't think Penn State's going to win it. Notre Dame's good. I don't think Notre Dame's a good enough roster to win the Natty just yet. I don't think Notre Dame's offense is good enough, personally. So that's my prediction. I think whoever wins, Texas, Ohio State will win it. I think Texas will win it. And I'm rooting for Texas, to be honest with you. I'm either rooting for Texas or Notre Dame. I do not want Ohio State. I hate Ohio State. And then Penn State, I just think so fraudulent. Like, Penn State has no business being in that one of the 4 teams left. Penn State's not good. And Penn State had the easiest path ever. The easiest path. Penn State beat, who was the first team Penn State played? They played SMU. And then they beat Boise State. Penn State beat two trash, I don't want to say trash, but 2 teams who weren't really that great. And then they're in the Final Four teams. Like, Penn State's overrated, bro. I have no idea. To the people who think Penn State's going to win, Penn State's not. I think Notre Dame will definitely win that game. I got Texas, Notre Dame, Natty. Texas winning it. And I'm rooting for it. Eckler from Tennessee. Sipple said earlier today that Eckler is absolutely interested. I don't know if Sipple has an inside take there. Truthfully, I don't know if Sipple was texting Eckler. Like, if you're Mike Eckler, would you really want to leave from Tennessee? You just made the playoffs to go to Nebraska. I don't know. Maybe if you got a big payday, I don't know. It's a possibility. I just don't know if it happens. Ryan Day winning it all would make me sick. I completely agree with you, Cole. I hate Ryan Day, dude. Hate Ryan Day, man. Ryan Day, he looks like a mean guy. He just looks mean. Like, they always pan to him on the sideline. He has like the worst expression on his face. I don't know. I don't know Ryan Day, but he always seems mean, man. He seems mean. I don't like Ryan Day at all. And I don't think he's a good coach, to be honest with you. Eckler or Steve Sipple did talk to Eckler. Very interesting. Hey, if Steve Sipple breaks this news, that would be crazy, man. What is this, 2000, 2009? Nah, shout out to Steve Sipple. I love Steve Sipple. Interesting. Very interesting. I don't know. We'll see there. We'll see. I just don't know if Eckler would leave Tennessee. That's my thing. I just don't know. I don't know. We are to Texas what Iowa is to us. I do think it's a two-sided rivalry with Nebraska, Iowa. I think we have a fake rivalry with Texas. And it stems from 2009. Like, that 2009 game, that stems from all of that. Dude, Montana State just did the dumbest thing I've ever seen. North Dakota State just won the national championship in FCS football by punting it in down. That was the stupidest thing ever. What did I just see? That was so dumb. Do you have an update on a particular 6'6", 212-pound offensive lineman transferring to Nebraska? Well, no, because the offensive lineman I'm thinking of is 6'6", 327 pounds. Are you thinking of Emmanuel Pregnon or Elijah Pritchard? I don't know. No, we're going to get the Alabama transfer tomorrow. Expect it. It's going to happen. As for Emmanuel Pregnon, I'm not sure. We got 12 inches in KC. I wish we got some snow here, dude. I really wish. Actually, no, I don't. I don't wish we got snow. Wilson, what do you think? Do we ditch Iowa for the Black Friday game and bring in a true blue blood USC? No, bro. We're not. We are rivals with Iowa. We're going to keep that game as it is. Wilson, know-it-all, Dittman, your channel is growing faster than a corn stalk full of pesticide. Thank you for taking care of us. Hey, Paul, appreciate you. That's a funny comment, man. Thank you so much for the support. Again, thank you all again for 10,000 subscribers. This is a special day for me on the channel personally, because this is the 1-year anniversary of the day that I hit 1,000 subscribers on the channel, and 1,000 was a huge day for me. That was crazy. That was 1 year ago. I bet there's very few of you who were here within those first 1,000 subscribers. But this is the 1-year anniversary of me hitting 1K on the channel. So big day. But obviously, if you told me 1 year earlier, that we'd be at 10K right now, I would have not believed you. So I appreciate all you guys' support as always, man. Notre Dame gonna win it? I don't know, dude. I just don't think Notre Dame is a good enough roster this year. I don't know. Any news on the Arizona cornerback? I don't think we're going to land him. I don't know if we really want him anymore. We'll see. North Dakota State just won the championship. Yeah, I just watched it. They won on a punt, man. That was weird. That was really, really weird. Really weird. That made no sense. I hate the Iowa rivalry. I don't fight it at this point. It's so sad to me that's become a thing. Why, Colby? I don't mind that it's become a thing. Like, we join a new conference, we have to find new rivals. I'd much rather be in our situation than a Penn State situation. Because what happened to Penn State is Penn State joined the Big Ten and they never formed real rivalries because they wanted to cling on to their old rivalries. And then turns out they have no more rivals. Like, Penn State does not have a single rival anymore. So I'd much rather be in Nebraska's scenario while, yeah, you still have Colorado, Oklahoma rivals, but you join a new conference and you continue to form more rivalries. And I like the Iowa rivalry. I've grown up with it, so I'm going to definitely have a different perspective than you guys. But in my opinion, the rivalry is very real between Nebraska and Iowa, despite what you guys might think. Nebraska hates Iowa. Iowa hates Nebraska, and it's a fun rivalry. It sucks that we've lost to them so much, but it's very, very, very real, despite what people might think. Like, it's real, and I like it for being real. Now, is the Nebraska-Wisconsin rivalry real? Probably not. Is the Nebraska-Minnesota rivalry real? Probably not. But the Iowa one, I think, is very, very real. But it's better to be in this situation and have fake rivalries than be in a Penn State situation where you have no rivalries. They botched that one when they joined the conference. They very much botched that. So, blue bloods are rivals with other blue bloods. I mean, sure, but is Colorado necessarily a blue blood? Some could argue that K-State is a rival. So, I don't know. Like, I don't necessarily agree with that too much because Colorado's one of our biggest rivals and they aren't a blue blood. So, I don't know. What FCS team do you think they should move up next? Well, they should move up the North Dakota States of the world, the Montana States of the world, but they're never going to move up because they want to stay in FCS. And why wouldn't they? Like, you would much rather as a program stay in FCS and win national championship every year than move up to, Power 5 or to move up to FBS and never compete for anything ever again. I don't know. Colby says, because Iowa's history is so much worse, rivalries are supposed to spur teams on to become championship caliber, and all the Iowa one does is drag us into the mud and remind us we suck. I don't know. I don't really care about the history, man. Like, they're a border war. It's a border war. Iowa is right there. Iowa's right to the east of us. Okay, it'd be one thing if they tried to force on this Nebraska-Wisconsin rivalry. Like, we don't care about Wisconsin, but Nebraska-Iowa's always kind of been a rivalry. It's like even before we joined the Big Ten. Like, we never really liked Iowa. We were never supporting Iowa. So yes, Iowa's history is much worse, but Colorado's history is not great. Colorado only had one good run. Okay? And we're rivals with Colorado. So I don't love that narrative. The Nebraska-Iowa rivalry is real. It's our fault that we suck. I think we would much rather love the rivalry if we destroyed them every year. But it's a real rivalry, and it's best that we embrace it as Nebraska fans because it's not going away anytime soon. I'd much rather have fake rivalries in a new conference than be stuck like Penn State and have no rivalries. I don't know. Ideally, Nebraska's good and Iowa's good, and then we'll continue to feed off each other and have a really competitive rivalry. We just haven't had that. And maybe that's why you feel that way, because Nebraska sucked the last decade. I don't know. USC and Nebraska for Black Friday game? Nah, bro. No. And that would be so sad, Nathan. I don't know, Nathan, why do you want to be rivals with USC? USC's just like us. USC is a bad blue blood team. Like, they're not good anymore. We're not good anymore. I don't know. That'd be like so sad. I do not want to be rivals with them. Illinois, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa are Big Ten rivals. I would say only Iowa and Minnesota. And Minnesota is like the only one that I hate personally besides Iowa because I don't know. I just Minnesota, I hate their fan base more than anything. I hate their golden gopher, but I don't know if that applies to you guys as well. I don't know. Will Jaden Daniels' Commanders defeat the Buccaneers? I do, man. I do think so. I definitely do. I'm biased, though. Bias. Oklahoma was Nebraska's best rival. I agree with you. I agree. But we got replaced. Nebraska started sucking in the 2000s. Oklahoma replaced us like an old wife. Like that. We got replaced for the new girl on the street, for the younger, hotter girl. Nebraska was getting up there in age. And Oklahoma said, you know what, Nebraska, I'm going to divorce you. I'm going to get my new side chick, marry her, Texas. That's what happened in Nebraska. We got replaced. So we can sit here and talk about old rivalries. We don't have these old rivalries anymore, partially because we're not good anymore. And I don't know. Here's what it is. We played Oklahoma. We played Oklahoma in 21 and 22, and that didn't feel like a rivalry to me because we got destroyed both of those games. When we played Colorado, though, in 23 and 24, both of those games felt more of a rivalry. I don't know. Iowa's winning consistency is worthy of respect. I agree with you. And this is one thing I hate about some Nebraska fans. They treat Iowa like they're some bum program. I hate Iowa. I hate Iowa more than any other team. But Iowa's not trash. Iowa wins 8-9 games a year. Iowa isn't like the scum of the earth garbage. We sit here and we're like, Iowa has no history. You're right, Iowa has no history, but they're not bad. They're good. They constantly beat us, so it's not like we could be sitting down talking down on them like they're some terrible team. I don't know. Too bad doesn't have a D1 football team. I don't even know if we would have a rivalry with UNO if they had a D1 football team. I don't think we would. Actually, we probably would. We probably would. Who is the most underrated player Nebraska got in the portal? The linebacker transfer. Besides that, I'd say this corner we just got yesterday. Nebraska fans' forced hatred of Texas is so cringy and little brother. I agree with you, dude. It makes us look like the little brother. When Nebraska fans sit here and they say, oh, we hate Texas, horns down. It just feels like we're the little brother because I'm telling you right now, Texas never thinks about Nebraska as a rival, ever. They never think about us. It's sad that we try to force this rivalry. It's like when Purdue tries to force this rivalry on us, or Illinois, or Northwestern. They'll beat us one year, and Illinois will talk all their crap. Be like, ho. They'll try to force a rivalry. We don't think about you guys ever, Illinois. You guys, we're not rivals with you, but they want to be rivals with us. Same thing with the Texas situation. It is a little brother move of us to pretend like we're rivals with Texas, because we're not. We just aren't, especially anymore. What do you think about the Cincinnati-Nebraska game in Arrowhead? I think it'll be fun. I don't like neutral site games. I think neutral site games are killing college football. But I like that it's outside. It's going to be basically a home game for Nebraska. It's going to be 95% Husker fans. It'll be kind of fun going in a new place. I might go down there for that game. I'll see what the tickets are looking like. That'll be fun, though. It'll be fun. I don't like neutral site games, though, because they suck. They ruin college football. But I might go down for that one. I'm not sure. Texas ruined the Big 12. You're right. And I don't. You can dislike Texas for other reasons. Just don't I don't like when Nebraska fans insinuate that it's a rivalry, because it's just not a rivalry. I don't know. It just isn't. We own Purdue. We do own Purdue. We should own Purdue every single year. Colorado was our biggest rival in my lifetime. Again, it just depends on who you ask, right? If you ask somebody born in before the 70s, they will say Oklahoma's the biggest rival. If you ask somebody born in the 70s or 80s, they'll say Colorado. If you ask somebody born in the 90s, maybe even early 2000s, they might say K-State. If you ask anybody born in the 2000s, or at least, younger fan like me, they'll say Iowa. Just kind of depends on who you ask. Nebraska-Miami, best rivalry outside of Oklahoma. It's not like it's not a crazy. It's not. I wouldn't say it's like a rivalry, but it's definitely a historic matchup. I loved when we played Miami for a home and away. We need to do that again, dude. We used to have some really good home and aways. I hate that we're playing Cincinnati this year. Like, we always play a really fun series, whether it's Oklahoma, Colorado. We played Miami. We played Oregon in the past. It sucks that we're playing Cincinnati. Like, what are we doing here? That's such a lame game. I don't know. I'd much rather schedule home and away with Texas, or Florida State would be a fun one. LSU would be a fun one. I don't know. There's a couple others there. All right, guys. We've been going for a little while. Put your final stuff in the comment section. We hit 100 likes on the stream. Appreciate all you guys. Put your final stuff in the comment section. I'll get to what you guys have to say. Appreciate you guys' support, as always, on the channel. Rocking with me all the time. Yeah, make sure to put those notifications on so you guys know the latest and greatest with Nebraska football. I probably stole that from somebody, latest and greatest. But put those notifications on. If you're someone watching this and you're unsubscribed, it would help me out a lot. Please hit that subscribe button. Again, thank you guys for 10K. But let's get into your guys' final comments. Put that down below. Final stuff you guys are thinking about before we get out of here for the night. Want to get to that absolutely. So let's see what you guys have to say here before we get out of here. Definitely going to Arrowhead for that game. Yeah, man, it'll be a good one. Yeah, it'll be a good one. We do have a home and away with Tennessee. Yeah, we do. The question is that game going to stay as a series? Because my guess is Tennessee cancels that. Because I think that the SEC is going to go down to 3 non-conference games by 26, and then they're going to cancel Nebraska's game. That's what I think. Because they did it once before. They did it in the 2010s. I think they'll do it again. Tennessee does not want to play us. We faced off against Miami in the Natty 3 times. Yep, exactly. Like, I don't know if it was necessarily a rivalry, but we just had a bunch of historic matchups with Miami. That was the thing there. Like, maybe it was a rivalry, kind of. Like, it was a rivalry in a Warriors versus Cavs type of way. A Lakers versus Celtics type of way. It was a rivalry because they kept playing each other in big games. Why did Dylan Raiola post that Georgia stuff on a Snapchat? Because he was being stupid. I don't know. Maybe he was looking for attention. It was dumb. Next year, one thing that's funny about Dylan, though, Dylan has said like multiple times that he's never on social media. Dylan is on social media a lot, bro. Dylan's on Instagram all the time, man. He's on Snapchat all the time. Dylan is on social media. He might not be on Twitter, but he's on social media like a lot. Like, just every teenager is, though. That's not a con about him. Next year's schedule is pretty easy. Do you think we'll win and get into the playoffs? If everything goes right, we can win 10. If everything goes right. But my question is to you: when was the last time everything's went right in Nebraska football season? It's been a very long time, so I don't think it'll happen. Unfortunately, I don't think so. All right, guys, I think you guys are done for the night. No much more stuff here. It was really fun hanging out with you guys. We'll probably post Nebraska basketball wrap up tomorrow. I just want to see how that does on the channel. Like, you guys want basketball content, I'll absolutely bring it to you guys. Yeah, we'll do basketball. Probably have a couple more live streams coming up soon. I'm going back to college in a week, so that'll kind of mess with my schedule a little bit. But it's been fun hanging out with you guys over the last couple weeks, man. Channel got to 10K. I appreciate you guys. It's been crazy. Been a crazy couple weeks. It's crazy, you know, like the fact that we have 10,000, man. I can't believe that. We've grown so quick. So I appreciate all you guys for all your support as always, man. But it's really, 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 really fun live stream as always. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Yeah, man. Nothing else to be said. Have a very good night. I'll see you in the next one, everybody. Make sure to hit that like button on the stream also. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Look, I'm looking at the chat right now. That's about it. That's it. I'm wrapped up. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow.